Thank you, Serge. Can you hear me fine?
All
Yes.
good.
Yes. Cool. Thank you, everyone. Hi, everyone. I'm Sumanta, founder and CEO of Gardin. It's a pleasure and incredibly humbling, I gotta say, to be here. So thank you, Evan and LDV. I'm going to talk about Gardin. I'm going to talk about what we're seeing in the world today, what Gardin is doing, and the future that we're aspiring to. So everyone here is aware of the problems we're facing with climate change and food production. So I'm not going to dwell on that. What is interesting, however, is that just a few days ago, the Dasgupta report was published. And this report was commissioned by Her Majesty's Treasury. So this is interesting. It's yet another data point in the trend we're seeing that sustainable food production and economies are now getting intertwined. And this is going to accelerate change. So just to continue on that a little bit more, so this is not just B2B or B2C anymore. This is now getting to be a topic of strategic national interest. We're seeing real evidence of technology maturity in the ecosystem and opportunities are being created. Now, there's a lot of really clever people who are already doing amazing things leveraging visual data in this field. So just a couple of examples, by no means exhaustive. So people are doing crop yield predictions using hyperspectral imaging from satellites and drones. People are doing food sorting using computer vision. No one wants a bad apple. There's crop harvesting using computer vision deployed in drones, and LiDAR is being used to measure the yield of some crops. And all of these advances are really, really important. So let me talk a little bit about our startup Gardin now. Now, in every industry that I've been involved in, there's always been like a maniacal focus on measuring the product. Why? Because if you do this right, then two things happen. A, you make better products, and B, you optimize the supply chain. Well, this then begs the question that if the purpose of food is to provide us with nutrition, then shouldn't that be what we're measuring? Well, what we discovered a couple of years ago is that this wasn't really the case. What we also realized is that there's a lot of value if you can do this right. So this is why we started Gardin. What is Gardin? Gardin is a full stack company developing sensors and analytics to remotely measure plant physiology and correlate this with the growth environment. Why? Because if you can do this right, then you can enable food producers to grow higher nutritional density produce, and you can lower the food production costs. And what's really interesting is the two of these are not mutually exclusive. So how are we doing this? So we're using a combination of multispectral sensing, data fusion, computer vision, and machine learning. It's a bit of a mouthful, but it's hard. On the sensing side, we're using a combination of fluorescence, spectral, and thermal. Why? Because each one of these techniques on its own can tell you when a plant or a crop is stressed, but it can't tell you why. But if you use a permutation of these techniques, then you can tell when a crop or a plant is stressed or not. And you can also say why. And this means that our clients can now make meaningful interventions. Computer vision is key to what we're doing because we need to maximize signal to noise ratio and minimize power consumption. So using computer vision, we can identify regions of interest within the plants and optically probe only these locations. This improves signal to noise ratio and keeps our compute overhead low. Now, traceability in our application and industry is also really important. And here, by combining computer vision with known plant traits, we can track a plant throughout its growth cycle and indeed post-harvest. Now, I'd like to share a little glimpse of the future that we're aspiring to. So 10 years from now, there's a couple of things that we'd like to see. Firstly, nutritional density becoming the new metric of quantifying food value and hence food production. This means that what we are doing today has application not just in farming or pre-harvest, but throughout the supply chain, picking, sorting, processing, logistics, etc. Next, we see farming becoming more precise with sensing and automation platforms, quantifying the produce per plant rather than per field or per hectare. And as a direct result of the above, agricultural production emissions starting to slow, with emissions from energy use and fertilizer in this field starting to return to pre-2010 levels. Now, great people are making this possible. So I'd like to thank the amazing ecosystem of partners who are working with us, our investors, LDV Capital, Seed Camp, MMC, the Angels, our research partners, Professor Tracy Lawson, Professor Derek Stewart, And of course, the engine which is powering all of this, which is the team. That's all for me. Thank you. And before I go, we're looking for great and like-minded people and companies to work with us. So please do get in touch. Thank you.